While personally I've never been called a thief, mainly because of my skin tone, I do think it's clear to see that everyone does think of us Latinos as criminals. Even the quote-unquote cool characters in the mainstream, such as Tony Montana or Eddie Guerrero, are seen as cool because their favorite things to do are lie, cheat, and steal. The stereotype's been monetized in that way. And as far as the more general criminal stereotype, I can say that I've been a victim of NYC stop and frisk, shout out Bloomberg and de Blasio, and it's easy to see why this stereotype is still going so strong in the US, since the anti-immigrant rhetoric being spread here today has moved past terms like Mexican, alien, or even a wetback to characterize us, and now they really just favor the word illegal, like our mere existence is just breaking the law, and that crime is inherent within us, so we're just illegal people. And I don't like the way the media's tried to cheaply make up for the fact that they perpetuate this stereotype by patronizing us with things like the heavily merchandised Hispanic Heritage Month, trademark. And with that, I'd just like to say, mi nombre es Derek Aulestia, conocido como el ilegal, y eso es mi opinión.
Many people think Chinese students only focus on their studying. I think those people only see Chinese students spend most of their time studying in the library to get the best grades. However, Chinese students are the hardest working students in the world. They also focus on public service, but they never show or talk it to anyone. I have two friends who are environmentalists. Every weekend they went to Long Island to plant trees, but they never take a picture to show it to anyone.
There are many stereotypes placed upon black people in today's society. For example, there are the stereotypes that black people like fried chicken, that they like watermelon, that they like to play basketball, that they're aggressive. In my own experience, one of my former friends in high school told me that they thought I was a gangster because the black people in their country were mostly gangsters. That really struck me because how can you judge someone based off of other people? What another person does or another group of people do does not reflect every other person in that whole race. And it was just really appalling because it was one of the first times I've been stereotyped. It just made me feel that, it just made me realize that people actually judge you based off of actions that you had nothing to do with, which is wrong.
I think the main stereotype that I faced as a Korean in America was people already expected me to be smart and always excel in my class. Well, that's like a normal stereotype that usually follows someone Asian, but I don't think it was a stereotype that was hard, but it was the expectations that followed was the hardest part. Because one of my personal experience was that after a calc exam in our class, I got a really high grade while some others didn't do as well. And people would come up to me and be like, oh, that comes really natural for you. And like, oh, we already expected that you would get a high grade. Well, that made me feel like they're really putting down the efforts that I put in and not really validating how much work I had to put in for that calc exam. Feelings are that, well, I had to work against the stereotype that was already put in me. I did keep excelling in my classes because I really prioritized my studies, but I had to confirm to them that it wasn't my race, but it was my own efforts that helped me do well in my studies.
I was born 2 months before the attack on the World Trade Center, so for almost all my life I've been growing up in a world centered on more or less branding the Islamic community as like terrorists, but I think my parents did a good enough job shielding me from any outright discrimination because I can't recall any specific time in my childhood where I felt threatened. But I can definitely still relate to the struggles faced by the people regardless, and honestly, it's no different to me than any other time in history where a specific ethnic group was scapegoated or mistreated in America. I'm thinking of Native Americans who were forced to relocate, slaughtered, a Trail of Tears, or the Chinese in the 1800s when they died constructing the Transcontinental Railroad, African Americans all throughout America's history, the Japanese during World War II. So yeah, I'm upset that we're continuing this trend of scapegoating and like just perpetuating another false narrative. But I think my main problem, like besides the misconceptions that people have of Islam as a result of the terrorist attacks, is the war on terror. The way I see it and the way many people see it, it's not a real war. There are no specified targets, and because of that, there's no way we can actually end it. And it's serving partly as a way for the U.S. military to like achieve objectives that they otherwise couldn't or can't. And it's also helped advance the use of drones, specifically under the Obama administration, Bush. I think the continued U.S. involvement in the Middle East and areas surrounding it only served to infringe upon the people's human rights, take away their civil liberties of the people already there. And this war, like in quotes, is just being used to increase resentment towards the Muslim community. So until someone comes in and forces a change on how we approach this issue, I don't think brown people will be completely free from hostilities.